Hello, welcome to John McAllister's video podcast, Upper Sandusky, my hometown, and most people know the origin of that. I'm from Upper Sandusky. I moved back 30 years ago, love the city, love the town, love the freedoms that we have, and I live in the country, but Upper Sandusky is a great place. And today, my guest on Upper Sandusky, my hometown, is Sheriff Todd Frey. Todd Frey's always wanted to be in law enforcement, loves the small town, and he's from Upper Sandusky. I think he said he graduated in 1996, maybe. I can't remember for sure, but he's a young guy. He's energetic. He also helps with the high school football program, and he's out and about. Sit back and enjoy my video podcast with Wyandot County Sheriff Todd Frey. Sheriff Todd Frey, welcome this morning, and thank you for being on my podcast.
Thank you for allowing me on your broadcast.
I think it's great. Todd Frey, the Sheriff of Wyandot County, tell me a little bit about what you're doing right now. I mean, as far as what are you're the sheriff, but tell me about that and tell me about what responsibilities you have right now as a sheriff.
Well, right now, obviously, I'm the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of Wyandot County. We employ 35 employees. I am responsible for our road units. I am responsible for our jail here, and as far as our 911 communications center. So there's a lot of responsibility going into that, and I have a lot of help. Like I said, I have 35 employees. We also have 2 school resource officers. We have one at Mohawk and we have one at Cary. We are also responsible for court security at the Wyandotte County courthouse next door to us. So there's a lot of little things goes on in our county here.
So do you put this in a 40-hour work week then or not? I'm joking.
Joking. No, you're good. You're good. I have a great group of people that do a lot of work for me. So I've given a lot of responsibility to that group of people, which helps me out a lot. And like I said, just a great group of employees that I have.
Okay, let's give advice. What would you say if any young guy, high school, college student, or any level, any age, wants to be a deputy sheriff? What would you suggest to him, and what would he have to do?
Well, first of all, if you're in high school or this or that, please enjoy your high school career. Start working towards classes, maybe in the criminal justice section of school. And then when if you advance on to college, go ahead and get your your bachelor's and maybe even your master's. Who knows what you want to end up doing. Then you're going to have to go to an academy at some point. And law enforcement is a great experience. I love it. I've enjoyed it for 30 years now. It's great to help people, especially with people that you've grown up with and lived around with for your whole life. So it's just a great experience.
That's really good. See, I'm the opposite guy. I think a man gaineth no honor in his home country. So I stay in Wyandotte County. Nobody bothers me, and I don't bother anybody. But that's great that you do that. And that's great advice. I go back real quickly. You have to understand, I remember the first time I walked in the sheriff's office, the new edition like you have right now. And, the window and all this other kind of stuff. Well, when I was 18 years old, I'm 73, 18. It was like, this is no disrespect, the Andy Griffith show. You walked in, there was a counter that went across the top, there was a desk there, and then the radio system was there, and we would just sit and visit with the guys, the bonds. I forget what your jailer now would be, or an assistant deputy sheriff. And so I have so much respect of what you guys have done now, or what Wyandot County has done now. Okay, let's go back when what made you want to be a deputy sheriff or let's go law enforcement. How old were you? Do you remember why did you want to do that?
Oh, I can remember when I was a young child living at the in the big village of Kirby, Ohio. Just going around on your bicycle, making the siren noises, this and that, watching TV shows, which involved law enforcement. I have family that's involved with law enforcement. So just a combination of all that stuff and just wanting to help people, seeing law enforcement in my family, and just running into local law enforcement itself, helping people, pretty much intrigued me to continue my career in law enforcement.
That's really good. Then when did you then start actively pursuing law enforcement then?
So I graduated from Upper Sandusky High School in 1988. In 1991, I joined the Wyandot County Sheriff's Auxiliary. I went through the academy, and shortly thereafter, I started my career here at the Wyandot County Sheriff's Office, September 21st of 1991.
That's really good. Then where's the academy?
My academy was at Tiffin University.
Okay.
And they change all the time. They're different places, but mine at that time was.
Doesn't Tiffin put out a law enforcement degree of some sort?
Yeah, they have a criminal justice degree.
I'm sorry, criminal justice. That's good. I remember the first time I met you. Okay, I was driving down 294 and going a little bit too fast, and the sheriff's car was coming the other way, and so I saw you turn around. The light came on. I got out my billfold. I got my driver's license ready, and we had a good talk. Nothing bad, but I was going a little bit too fast, I think. But you were good. I mean, and respectful, and I think I was respectful.
Yes.
And my only one thing now is keep those guys out of Harpster all hours of the day. Because when I go to football games on Friday night, travel, I may come through there at 12 o'clock at night. Somebody's sitting there at the bank, and they can't fool me. I'm joking around. Okay, let's go back.
That was at 294 and 108. I can remember it like it was yesterday.
Well, then the other thing I remember. And you and Jeff Reichelderfer, you came down and did kind of security type thing for one of my camps. And I told one of these coaches, I said, I take that serious. I take this serious. That's a deputy sheriff over there. And those guys went off on that a little bit. Let's get into coaching. Let's break it up and go into coaching. You're doing that now, right?
Yes. I've been coaching since I was 18 years old. I started out coaching youth football, which was called our midget league program here in Upper Sandusky, which is no longer. I continue into coaching junior high wrestling. I did that for about 13 years.
Wow, that's good.
And then once my kids were born, I kind of got involved with them a little bit, and anywhere from baseball, softball, basketball, I was involved with them. And here recently, I still help out with the high school football. So I'm still actively coaching.
Well, that's great, because I did that for a long time. Still play around with it a little bit. That's so good. And what's I think nice about that is that kids and people see you without your black uniform on. And they see you, hey, he is human. And hopefully you get in their face a little. Kids, you get on them a little bit. But you're not too soft on them. But that's really neat, Todd, that you can do something like that. I think it's so huge in today's society. Okay, let's go to respect once. And I will have to tell you, I really respect the job that law enforcement does. How do you gain respect?
Well, Wyandotte County is a great community to be in. We are pro law enforcement. Never had any really issues with Wyandotte County. You just treat the people the way you want to be treated. And by that, you'll get a lot of respect. Helping them out when they need help, trying to do what you can to help them out, and they thank you for it. Whether the outcome is what they want or not, at least you tried and you tried to help them out.
I think it's so huge and it's going away. And I'm sure you do the same thing with coaching. You know, the respect is so important. The big word is with the inner city kind of kids is, disrespect. He disrespected me. He disrespected me. And that's one of the first things. And that even goes to adults in Wyandotte County or wherever you are. You got to try. That's so good. And you don't let that badge get carried away. You don't get carried away with that, I'm sure. Let's talk about advice to kids. What advice do you give young people now? Let's go with your uniform on. What advice do you give?
Well, a lot of kids I talk to with in this area, I tell them number one, if they're high school kids, normally is what I see. And again, enjoy your high school career. Social media out there is it's all over. Be careful what you do with social media. You can ruin your life real quick with one push of a button. Just be careful what you look up, what you send, whatever it may be, because social media can be devastating to a juvenile. The other thing is we're looking to get into is some training for the local schools on vaping. Vaping is, to my opinion, is a huge problem right now with some of our kids. And we're going to start looking at getting into the schools and have some teaching going on, or some sessions as far as the dangers of vaping and everything like that. So I just tell kids, you have to stay away from that. You got to be strong. Advice is be busy. Be in sports if you can be in sports. If it's something else, that's great. Just be busy, and that keeps you out of trouble.
Yeah, two things. Coach Tressel, this was, when he was still the head coach at Ohio State, because that's quite a while ago now. And he told his players, he told us, and then he said, he tells his players, now this is back then, he said, social media, this is back then, can kill you. He said, you be careful. He said, you could be at a party and some girl could come up and, hug you or expose themselves and take a picture, and it's on social media. He said, and then that's with you. And you're talking about high school kids, and we're talking about adults and, 20-year-olds and he's got to be so careful with that. I agree with you so much. And I think one of the biggest things in Upper Sandusky is we think it can't happen to us. I mean, we're a small town. That doesn't go on here. Well, as you know, more obviously out more, it does go on. Okay, let's get to something more positive then. What do you tell me? I asked you before we came on, what would be an experience, a positive experience that you've had? Something that you walked away from, Todd, going, hey, job well done. What would be one of those that you could experience, have you done?
Well, I could sit here and list a few.
Many of them, yeah.
One of them I actually used when I was campaigning is and I will not mention any names, but I had a young lady that I sent to prison 3 times. And when I was campaigning, she was probably one of my biggest supporters. That's just because I treated her with respect. I was hard on her, but I treated her like a human being, and she remembered that, and she respected that so much that she on social media supported me to be the next sheriff from Wyandotte County. So yeah, do we put away people that do things wrong? Yeah, but if you treat them right and you treat them like they're human beings, they'll come back and they respect that. We're back to that part of respect, and I think that was one of those situations where I earned her respect, and she was behind me the whole way on this campaigning.
That's huge. That's huge. Now, let me cover respect. And as you were talking, I did a podcast with Joe Burrow's mother. I know the family a little, pretty well, but did a podcast with Robin, and she's an elementary principal outside of Athens. And she talked about respect for the first graders, second, they got to respect you, third graders. Then toward the end of the conversation, we were talking about Joe being in the NFL, and she mentioned the word respect again. And then here we're talking about respect. What a huge word that is, in a way. One more story. Good. No war stories. Positive story.
I guess it just falls back to a lot of investigations I did, how I handled them. Some of the investigations I did were sensitive with juveniles. Obviously, I'm not going to mention any names.
Right, for sure.
But it's just how you handle these investigations turn out great for everybody. It turns out great for the parents, the victim, which is the juvenile in this situation, for us. So it was what was a terrible situation turned into a positive investigation.
That's so huge. That's so huge. Now, I just have a couple more questions and I'll let you go. What about working? You said something earlier about the people you grew up with, and because you're a young guy. And so how hard is that at times? I would think that would be really difficult for you to know of people you went to school with, and you have to correct them. I'm not saying put the hammer down. I'm just saying you have to correct them. How hard is that at times?
Well, I'll be honest. I don't know of anybody that I really had to investigate or maybe arrest that I went to school with. I might have. I just can't think of it right now.
Right.
But some that I do deal with.
Correct. I use the word, by the way. Correct.
Yeah, they respect that. They understand it's my job. It's nothing personal. They take it as they did something wrong, and they have to end up with the consequences.
That's good. Okay, then what about with your kids? Do you get much feedback, much pushback from the kids? Get much pushback?
As me being a sheriff, or
yes.
No, actually, I like I said, I've been coaching all these years. I know all these kids. They know me. I've never really had my kids come home and with any negative comments from anybody. I go to the games. They call me Papa Fry is what they call me. So or Sheriff Fry, but I got a lot of kids that I know out there that I've dealt with over the years. So
that's really good, Todd. Okay, you got out. I can't remember when you did. What made you, now be honest with me, what made you get back in? I think you were pounding nails or something for your dad, right? Or your brother. The whole Fry community over there, they're tied in some way. But
I've always done construction my whole life with my dad.
You said something to me back then, Todd.
Yeah, he passed away in 2011, but I went on my own in 2018. That's when I retired from here. Just one of the things I wanted to try. I had some other things I wanted to try. Shortly thereafter, I realized how much I missed law enforcement, dealing with people.
Is that right? That's good.
And the opportunity came up, and here we are.
That's really good. That's really good. Todd, I've enjoyed the interview, but give me one more answer to this question. What advice would you give to the people of Wyandot County, old, young, black, white, rich, poor? What advice would you give to them?
So I don't know if this is really advice or a statement, but I would encourage the residents of Wyandotte County just to continue supporting law enforcement. Help us be the eyes and ears out there in our community, which helps us help you guys. not so much as far as maybe turning someone in that made a mistake, but maybe getting a hold of us for someone that doesn't feel that they can reach out to us. Maybe they're afraid to reach out to us, or someone that needs help and we just don't know that. I just want Wyandot County to know that we will do everything we can to help them in any way that they need. It's just the Wyandotte Sheriff. It's a app that I have, and you can submit tips. Plus, it has it has a wealth of information about our office.
Wow.
But helping us out helps us protect the community a lot better.
Wow, that's really good. I'm glad they didn't have that when I was young. I'd been in a lot of trouble. Now, here's what I leave you with. I really appreciate you taking 15, 20 minutes to do this. And I'm being dead serious. I know state patrolmen have a tough job. Okay. They have a tough job. But they're on the main roads most of the time, the 23 and 71 and all the main roads, and they have a pretty tough job. I think the police have a tough job because, in town, in the city, they've got to they got to answer everything in town. If the dog's pooping in somebody else's yard, they got to go cover that if it gets reported. And I'm not being sarcastic, but they also have to deal with accidents and speeding and all that. But I think the sheriff's department has the toughest job of all. And I used to teach, when I taught, we would bring in a deputy sheriff or the sheriff from Lakota and Ridgedale, and we'd bring those guys in and interview them. And I really think that you have the toughest job because you go out and in the middle of the night at some farmhouse out in the country, 10 miles out, and you got to answer that, and you don't know what's going to happen. I really believe that. I mean, I believe, and then you're on the verge of trying to be good and give air on the other side of kindness, but that don't happen sometimes. And I think I'm not. You can still arrest me for speeding through Harpster, running the stop sign, but I just think you have a tough job, Todd. I think the sheriff's department's tough, and I thank you for being on my show. I really, really respect it. Okay.
Thank you.
I just did a really good one with Matt Campbell.
Just to
I always say,
continue
he and I have been
supporting
friends.
law enforcement.
Like I've done this so long.
Help us be
that I
the eyes and
developed
ears
friendship with all
out
these
there in our
guys. And
community,
Fickle's
which
supposed to
helps
come
us
on. He's
help
messing
you
with me a
guys.
little bit. I know him.
Not so much as far as maybe
Okay.
turning someone in that
Matt,
made a
as
mistake,
we leave
but
today, give
maybe
me. I'm sorry, I got to start again.
getting a hold of us for someone that doesn't feel that
Todd,
they can
I've
reach out
enjoyed
to
the
us.
interview, but give
Maybe
me
they're afraid
one
to reach
more
out to us,
answer to
or
this
someone
question.
that needs
What
help and we
advice
just don't
would
know
you
that.
give
I just want Wyandot County to know
the
that we will do
people of
everything we
Wyandot County,
can
old,
to help
young,
them in any way that they
black,
need.
white, rich, poor? What advice would you give taking the time today? I appreciate this
So I don't
interview,
know if this is really
and I
advice or a
wish you the
statement, but
best.
I would thank you.